Hello, welcome and namaste everybody. We welcome you all in our weekly family reunion and family gathering of eSIP follow-up session of Module 1, UHV 1. We have our resource person and course player, Dipesh Bhaiya with us. Dipesh Bhaiya, namaste, welcome.
Hey, namaste, Parishit Bhaiya.
Namaste, namaste.
Good evening.
Yeah. Ji, share the screen. Welcome, over to you.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Hope my screen is visible, Bhaiya, and my voice is audible.
Yes, screen is visual and voice is also loud and clear.
Thank you. Right. Namaste. Good evening to all. Welcome to this evening session of the eSIP follow-up, which we conduct regularly on every Wednesday from 7:30 to 8:30 in the evening. Right. So we are almost at the end, the summer part of this UHV 1 session. So what we will do is that we will have a sum up of the content part today, which is the session 13, and probably we can restart the sessions from next week onwards, right? So this is the sum up part where we will have a quick recap of all the content what we have discussed so far in the UHV 1. Okay, so you may stop me at any point of time, raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself and put your queries, or it can be your sharings also, because we have already gone through this content part. So probably many of you might have started exploring within you. So you may have a little bit of sharings also within you. So we can share and we can have a lively discussion also, right? So going forward towards the summer part, we have seen that we want to be happy always and to be prosperous always. So that is what we have seen as the basic aspiration. And we want to be healthy also. And we want to live in a relationship in the family, with friends, in the institution, with every human being. Right? As part of our academic life, we may have to interact with many people, maybe our classmates, maybe our teachers, maybe our people in the canteen, or people in the bus, people in the security people, all those people we need to interact. Maybe we have to interact with our seniors, we need to interact with our juniors. If it is faculty, we may have to interact with our colleagues, we may have to interact with our head of the departments, we may have to interact with our principal, the management people. So on a day-to-day basis, we happen to interact with many people, right? And if you look at how our interaction and how our relationship with each one of these people are, probably before exploring the content what we have proposed in the workshop, you might have feel that you have some lacking in terms of a relationship. Sometimes the relationship is good. Sometimes the relationship have the feeling of opposition, which are going on, right? And mostly we have the tendency to react rather than respond. All these things we may see in our behavior and expression, isn't it? But then once we started exploring the content, we might try to see what is happening within ourselves. Probably many a times we may be able to be aware of what is happening within me, right? And in that context, I would try to refer to my natural acceptance and try to take better choices than what I had before. So that possibility is there, and because of that, it may be reflected in my behavior with the other human beings, and I may try to be in harmony or in mutual fulfillment in my relationship with others, and which means that my relationship with my family members, with my friends, and all the people whom I am interacting on a day-to-day basis, maybe it might include the strangers also. So all those interaction might become more fulfilling, isn't it? Do you have any thoughts on that? Any reflections on that? What I have, put forth before you. So are you able to see that before you are having this understanding of the content, and while you are exploring the content, are you able to be in more and more in harmony in terms of the relationship in the family, friends, institution, etc.? Do you have any thoughts on that? If you have, you can unmute yourself and share. So that might help others also, right? Your experiences, your explorations, your experiments with the proposals might help others also, right? So in this context, if any of you would like to reflect upon something, you may please. If not, we will continue with this. Please feel free to share and unmute mic and put your reflections here. Because as Parishit Bhaiya was initially saying, it's kind of a family get together where we sit around a table and we share and discuss what we have within our explorations, our doubts, our questions, and reflections, so that we learn, we handhold each other. So you may feel free. That's what I was trying to say. Right. Okay. So let's move ahead. So we want to live in a just and equitable society. So we need to have the harmony in the family. And we wanted to live in a just and equitable society too, because as a family, we are part of the society, because families comprises of society, right? And we want to have a conducive natural environment also. We also do not want problems in any of the levels. We neither want problem at the level of the individual with me, myself, the imagination within me. Neither I want to have problem with my harmony with my body. Neither I want to have any problem at the level of my family. Neither I want to have any problem at the level of society. Neither I wanted to have any problem at the level of nature and existence. And for fulfilling our aspirations and for resolving our problems, we have to understand, ensure the right feeling in ourselves, and participate in a meaningful manner in the larger systems in the family, society, and nature. So once we try to understand our aspirations, and I'm able to see that the aspirations, the basic aspiration of each one of us is the same. And when I'm working to ensure the right feeling in myself, then as a reflection, as a responsibility, I participate in a meaningful manner in the larger systems, like the family, society, nature, etc. Isn't it? And there is every provision for this also. If you look at the nature of the larger order, the nature as such is already in harmony. Right? But as a human being, I can meaningfully participate in the nature, provided I have the right understanding and I take effort in this direction. At least I can ensure that I'm not disturbing the harmony in the nature. Isn't it? Any thoughts in this line? Any reflections you are thinking of putting in this line? You may share. Right. So the desired state, if you look, it will be as shown in this particular slide. So people living with human consciousness give rise to a humane society. So what do you mean by this human consciousness? So in the case of human consciousness, I am able to see that my needs include the physical facility, the right understanding, and the relationship in the right priority. And the priority, what I'm trying to see is that the right understanding is the self is having the highest priority. Whereas the relationship with the other human being is having the next highest priority. And the third highest priority, the third priority is the physical facility with the rest of the nature. So I am able to see that all these three are required. And the priority is as given in this particular figure. Right. So this is the requirement to fulfill my basic aspiration to be in a state of continuity of happiness and prosperity. And this is what we call as human being living in human consciousness. And when I'm having the right understanding in terms of relationship with other human beings, there will be mutual happiness in my interactions with other human beings. And when I have the right understanding in terms of physical facility with the rest of the nature, I am able to clearly assess my needs. And because of that, I may not go for accumulation. I don't have a deprived feeling, rather I have the feeling of prosperity. Right? I could clearly identify what physical facility is needed, and that physical facility is only needed for the body and not for the self. With that understanding, if I am taking the required physical facility from the rest of the nature, I can see that there is prosperity in the nature is enriched rather than exploited. Isn't it? Are you able to see this? So this is what we see as the desired state in terms of human being living with human consciousness. And we also proposed a human goal, what we call it as a humane society, what is shown in the bottom part of the slide, where at the level of every individual, we have the right understanding and the right feeling, which means I have the happiness within me at the level of individual. And at the level of family, there is prosperity in every family. And at the level of society, there is fearlessness or trust in the society. And at the level of nature and existence, there is coexistence or mutual fulfillment at the level of nature. So this is what we propose as the family-based society, like families having a common goal. So if at all every family which is part of the society is having this common goal, then we call it as a humane society, right? So at the core, what we have is the right understanding and right feeling in every individual. So this is the desired state. Are you able to see this? Do you have any reflections on this? You may please free to put your comments here. It can be either chat or you can put your comments in the mic. What are your thoughts on this? Right. So having said what is the desired state, now we look upon the current state. If you look at the current state, what we are able to see is that the right understanding part is missing in the self, in most of the people. And the relationship with the other human being is also largely missing. And the outcome of that is that there is unhappiness within me and I make others also unhappy. Is that true? What do you think? And at the level of physical facility with the rest of the nature, I'm not able to understand or assess how much is needed. And I assume largely that I'm the body. I have a lot of assumptions that physical facility accumulation is going to make me happy. I'm not very clear about what is happiness, what is my basic aspiration. And because of all these things, I'm trying to accumulate more and more from the nature, thinking that I would be happy if I accumulate more and more. And this is happening because instead of feeling of prosperity, I'm having the feeling of deprivation. And because of that, I'm exploiting and depriving others. I am exploiting the nature, isn't it? And this is what we call as the animal consciousness, which is what is prevalent in the current society. And it leads to an inhuman society rather than a humane society. Isn't it? So we are trying to make the circle of physical facility larger and larger because of the lack of right understanding in the self. And at the level of society, we have seen that instead of a human society, we have an inhuman society. At the level of individual, we have assumptions after assumptions which are unverified. For example, we have the assumption that money is everything. So we try to accumulate more and more money, thinking that we might be having the continuity of happiness if we have more money. So this assumptions is prevailing in every individual instead of the right understanding. And since I don't have the feeling of prosperity, I'm doing the accumulation by any means. Because of that, a number of problems which is prevailing in the society we can see. Even people who is earning a considerable amount of money in the forms of salary, they are also not feeling having the feeling of prosperity. So they'll go for getting bribes or getting accumulation by any means, by illicit means also. Corruption might be prevalent because of this reason. So this all happen because of the wrong assumptions within me. And there is the outcome as the obsession for consumption. Even though I can see that the food is for the nurturing of the body, what do? I try to consume more and more food for the purpose of the taste. Obsession for consumption, obsession for sensual pleasure, obsession for profit. All these things are a reflection of the lack of right understanding at the level of individual. Isn't it? Any reflections on this? Are you able to see the inhuman society, the inhuman behavior in the people around us and within us? Is it happening? Within me also, am I able to see many of these things? Any reflections on that? At the level of society, there is domination, exploitation, and fear instead of fearlessness. And the outcome is that we have people fighting with each other, starting from the street fight, maybe the ego clashes, to the extent of terrorism and war. Isn't it? And at the level of nature, we are trying to do the mastery and exploitation in the nature. I might have an assumption that the whole nature should be under my feet. The whole nature is for me to be, to have pleasure. I do hunting. I do killing. I do deforestation illicitly. All these things I do. I assume that I have the money and I have the freedom to do whatever I want. Right. Because of this, we can see the resource depletion, pollution, etc. Any reflections on this? Are you able to see at least? Can you at least put some yes or no in the chat box? These things make sense. Yes, baby teacher is saying yes. Very nice. Thank you. What about others? So this is basically the current state where the right understanding and the relationship is missing in the human being. And we are trying to largely making the circle of physical facility larger and larger. Right. So we have seen the desired state, we have seen the current state. And now the purpose of education is to enable the transformation from this current state of inhuman society to the desired state of human society, humane society. And we can take, as a human being, we can take every effort for this transformation. And we can think of making me as the first person to be in harmony with the right understanding. And we can think of my family to be the place of harmony, the next effort. And I can think of our institution to be in harmony as a living example of human beings living in human consciousness. Isn't it? Right. So this transformation, probably some of you might have already started working on that. And each one of us might be at some point in this arrow. Some of us might have worked a little bit early. Some of us might be a little bit behind, trailing. But if we are able to see this commitment towards ourselves, we may be working and be in any part of this arrow, isn't it? Now, if you look at the program of action for the fulfillment, the program of action at the level of individual, we can see is to understand harmony and to live in harmony at all levels of my being, which includes the individual, family, society, and nature and existence. So I need to understand harmony, and then I need to live in harmony. So once I have this sessions, these follow-up sessions are all effort to bring in the understanding part within me. And then it is my responsibility to take effort to make it in my living, to make it into my daily living, this understanding. And step by step, I work on myself within the level of individual and slowly extend it to family, society, nature, and existence. So the tool for that is what we call as the self-exploration, where I verify the proposals on my own right. I don't believe or I don't accept just because someone has told these things. I verify the proposals based on my natural acceptance, which eventually lead to right understanding of harmony, which enable to have the feeling and thought of harmony within me, being reflected in harmonious behavior within me, which is reflected in work and participation in the larger order. So this is what I really want to be. This is my intention. This is as per my natural acceptance. So I need to discover this, what I really want to be. Isn't it? Then I develop, as part of the self-exploration, I develop self-awareness, where I look into myself. I become aware of my desire, my thought and expectation, moment to moment. So the self-awareness also improves as part of the self-exploration. Right. And then I do the self-evaluation, evaluate my desire, my thought and expectations, my imagination, on the basis of my natural acceptance, which is my current state. I will look into and see what I am, what are my desires, what are my thoughts, expectations. And I would see what all are the desire, thought, and expectations which are in line with my natural acceptance, which we can call it as my competence. And I would refer to my natural acceptance and see whether my current desire is naturally acceptable or not. And if it is not, I will try to make it by taking appropriate choices. And this is what we do as the purification of my sanskaras. So as and when I purify my sanskar by looking within and bringing more self-awareness and self-evaluation within me, I am able to see that more and more of my desire, thought, and expectations are getting in line with my natural acceptance. I am getting more and more resolved within. I am having more and more understanding within. I am able to see that I am more and more harmony as within. Right. So this is what is the program of action at the level of the individual. And at the level of society, when I have already made considerable amount of time and effort to work at the level of individual, then I can start working at the level of society as an outcome of the feeling of responsibility within me. Isn't it? So the one aspect is about the people's education program for adults, which we give in the form of the faculty development programs, family workshops, programs in the jails, etc. So when we do that, we have the people with right understanding and right feelings. We can conduct these programs for the parents. We can conduct these programs for policymakers, teachers, etc. And we can also have this kind of program for children, the education sanskar program, to ensure the people with the right understanding and the right feelings. So in terms of children, probably we can see that there could be people with definite human conduct, and which leads to the competence to participate in the universal human order. And for that, we try to include these programs as a course in the academic curriculum as part of our curriculum. We may include socially relevant projects. We may set up a conducive environment for the children to explore. So all these things will enable the student to have the value-guided education as part of the mainstream education. Right. And at the level of society, we can think of an undivided society or universal human order program based on that, where we aim at the fulfillment of the human goal, where there is right understanding and right feeling at the level of individual. We have the prosperity in every family, we have fearlessness in the society, and we have the coexistence in nature and existence. So we can see this program of action leading to harmony from in the family to family cluster, which is a collection of family, leading to the harmony in the village, then group of village forming the village cluster, and at the larger order in the nation, eventually to the world family. Isn't it? Right. So this is the program of action at the level of society, right? And we can see if 10 years are required for one person to have the clarity of understanding, right understanding and right feeling. So probably next 10 years, if 10 people are able to have the understanding, in 100 years, probably 1,000 crore people can be having this understanding, the clarity of the understanding and the ensuring of the right feelings within them. In terms of education, it might take 20 to 50 years to have this transformation. And if at all we are working at the level of undivided society, it might take 10 to 20 years. Isn't it? So that is about the sum up of the content, what we have discussed for the last few days as part of the students induction program. This content basically is aimed at the development of the students when they come as the first year students, when they join the institution, where there is a tremendous change from the, what do you call, the 11th and 12th schooling. They getting accommodated in an engineering institution or a polytechnic colleges. Some of them might be relocating from their homes for the first time. Some of them might be moving for the first time away from their family, from their parents, where, like each and every thing was taken care of by their parents. So when they move out of their family to an institution, and if at all they are staying in a hostel at the developing age, they might face a lot of challenges. So the understanding part is very important. Probably if we can directly see that the understanding about the harmony in with the body, the self and the body might be very important. Because at home, mother or father, someone, a relative, might take the plate on the dining table and call, come beta, come and eat. And he just have to eat. And in many cases, he may not even wash the plates, he or she. Isn't it? Right. And then once he go to hostel, sometimes he may not be able to get the right tasty of the food what he was getting at home. And because of that, there may be adjustment problems. If he was busy with something, he might miss the food. The food is over means food is over. He might not have the freedom what he have at home. The preferences may not be available. All these issues will be there, right? And then adjusting with the roommates. He might have the luxury of one room fully allocated for him at his home. And then he goes to the hostel where 3 to 4, maybe 5 people are there in the room, in a single small room. And people with different preferences are starting to live together. There may be issues adjusting with each other, isn't it? And there may be very aggressive students at times. There may be people who might bully the other. All these things might happen. So how do we live with the other in such kind of environment? So this understanding part is very important. The capacity to live with the other human beings is very important, isn't it? And there may be issues of getting infected with diseases, the spreading of diseases in terms of water, contaminated water, right? And getting influenza, cold, etc. from one another. So that possibility is also there. And when affected with some diseases, he himself has to take care of his body. That responsibility have to be there. At home, he don't have to do, just follow the instruction from the parents. He may get hot food time to time, but not in the hostel. He have to take the responsibility of the self-regulation with the body also. If at all, he may skip the breakfast sometimes or lunch, then he may have to compensate. He have to decide, take the decision to compensate on that so that the body may not be affected. The eating, sleeping, the routine might have been mostly been regulated by the parents at home. And when it comes to institution, staying in the hostel, he has to have the self-discipline within himself, right? As part of the discipline, as part of the routine, wake up in the right time, and probably they may have limited number of toilets, bathrooms and all, then they have to share it. They don't have the convenience of enjoying as much time in the bathrooms, the toilets. All these things comes into play. He or she might have to wash his own clothes and plates, which he might have the luxury of getting it done by someone else at the home. So these all changes need understanding within, the responsibility within, to himself as well as to the others. Right. And then a lot of sharings happens between the individual students in terms of the study part, and then working together, maybe as part of many of the events which is happening in institution. And they learn a lot, and in the 4 years time, they transform themselves to an adult, responsible adult. Who is expected to take as an engineer when he is going to a job, isn't it? And for that, he need to develop the capability for that. So going into an engineering institution as a boy and coming out of an engineering institution as an adult capable engineer, the transformation happens in the institution. And he himself has the responsibility, and there are people who are aiding. The teachers has got the responsibility. The parents has also got the responsibility for this transformation to happen in each of these individual coming to our institutions. And that is the place where these programs are important. That is the context where we try to give this to the students so that they have the clarity about the understanding within themselves. And also they have the capacity to live with the relationship with others in terms of their peers and also in the institution, and learn, handhold, evolve, and grow into responsible adults. And for the teachers, we need to handhold them. We may be allocated some of the students as mentees, so we need to mentor them. So we should have the right understanding and the right feeling within myself as a teacher. I should have the living of the values within me. If I'm trying to just preach the values as an academic subject and it's not getting reflected in me, in my living, the students will immediately see the discrepancy within the conduct of ourselves. And they may feel confused about that. And they may say that this is the same contradiction which is happening in the society also. So the assurance about the teacher to the student may not be there. The student might not look up for the teacher for guidance. That also might happen. So it is important for the faculty also to understand the values, to have the right feelings, and walk the value path. It is very important. Are you able to see this? Any reflections on this? Any comments on this?
Yes, Dibeshti, am I audible?
Namaste, Deviji, please go ahead.
Yes, yes. Actually, related to this, I have a sharing. Then we have a student in our third year civil engineering. So in that branch, the specialty is that nowadays students are less in each class. So this student, particular girl student, is alone. From that, all the other students are day scholars. So this girl is alone in the ladies hostel, but she is staying with another student who is in now in AD department, artificial intelligence department, and they are sharing the room. Like that, it was going like that. And as usual, in each year, there will be shuffling also. So this time, when the shuffling, while moving to the third year, shuffling, everything happened, and the students are located to each room. Then after that, this particular girl of civil engineering was having this problem of being alone in the hostel. She was feeling something like that. She is alone. She is not getting consideration like that. So we teachers used to interfere, and the civil engineering department teachers who are staying in the hostel used to motivate her. So, but yesterday, and I am knowing that something was going on there, and the warden, everybody was taking care of her, and it was moving like that, and it was okay, and she was a very good student, top student, like that. Then yesterday, I have got a uh, WhatsApp message from her mother, what she wrote to her during this, because she doesn't want to stay in the hostel, she wants to go. I'll come from home like that. So many things she used to tell, it seems, but we used to suppress it, and we are getting settled somehow, and she was moving on. Yesterday, the message was, Amma, I am not feeling like studying or not able to attend the class like that, and all, as usual, a conversation between a mother and her daughter. So she forwarded it to me, and she asked me what to do in this situation. So she's telling that she's worried. Then so far I didn't call her because the mentors were managing all the situations, and I couldn't get any uh, on the sign that the girl is somewhat worried. Because of that only, it was going like that. Yesterday, I thought of calling her together with the head of the department. She came to me, and she was with me for some time, and then the head of the department went out, and we two were there. Then just I asked her, what is your problem? I don't have any problem, she told. Then what is there? Why you are worrying like that? No, no, I am the only girl from civil engineering in that year. Another semester it is there. So I am feeling that I am alone like that, and all, she told. Then just in the college vision, there is the word that is resourceful, outstanding like that. A for adaptability in our college. A, letter A is for adaptability, like that we wrote in our vision. I asked her, you just read that. I told. Then I asked her if you are changing the room, and already we made arrangement for her to study in a single room, but she has to stay with the other student during the sleeping time, like that only the arrangement. So she was looking to that for some time. Okay, madam, I will manage. Then I called the warden and I told her that you see that the student is happy. If she is happy, only she can study. And the warden was trying for some adjustment for her. Then she told that, no, madam, please don't. I myself will manage. And today I got a message that she took initiative and she was discussing with other friends. And the problem is she used to sleep early, whereas the other student used to sleep very late. So that time gap was disturbing her sleep. That was the problem. Finally, we got. So what she herself found another person who is having the same habit, and they took initiative to have an interchanging of this room. So when Dibeshi explained all these things, I'm getting the importance of the uh, student induction program, actually what it means and why it should happen, what all things we have to concentrate related to students. So today, all of us are happy that the matter got settled through students itself. So we didn't interfere, but the only thing that just I asked her to read that word. That only the thing happened. So this is somewhat related to what all things she explained now, I think. So please your comments, please.
Gee, very nice reflection. Teacher. So it's a very important point. Sometimes what happens is that they might have problems, but then they also will try to keep it there, and then it may get reflected in their behavior after a long time. Maybe it may create a problem of disharmony within them, and at some point of time, it may come out of as a real issue, and then only the parents might be knowing, the teachers might be knowing, and that is the point where the mentor of the student will be able to help him, because we expect that the mentor will have a one-on-one connection with each of the student, because we are planning that, like 20 people, 20 students will have one mentor. So on a average, at least once in a month, or maybe twice, 2-3 times in a month, or it can go up to a weekly connection with the mentor and the student. And in that context, the initial rapport between the mentor and mentee has been established. Then the student might feel free to share his or small problems also. So we may be able to solve these issues at a very nascent stage itself if we are having a mentor-mentee system. And that is one thing which the SIP is proposing too. it is not just the SIP program which is conducted as part of the induction. It is the handholding of the student throughout the 4 years by the mentor till he or she comes out of the institution. So that is the expectation there. And this SIP program, giving this SIP program is only the preliminary part of it. Isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes.
So it's very nice that you were able to solve that issue at the level of the student itself. And it might be, I can see that there is a joint effort from the principal, from the advisor, from the head of the department, the warden, and even the parent.
Yes,
Sometimes what
exactly.
happens is that, yes, sometimes what happens is that even the students might not open up to the parents also, but they may open up to their mentor. So that also might happen. And also sometimes what happens is that they might be opening up to their peers also. So the mentor might, like got a chance to interact with their students also, close friends. They may get a cue about that also. So there are a variety of ways in which as a mentor, we can interact with the students. But then again, we have to do in the confinement of our other duties also. So if you are doing the self-exploration as a teacher, I would say you will get more and more time and you will see that self-development which is happening within ourselves when we are getting involved in these kind of activities of helping others.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So very nice sharing, Devi teacher. Thank you for that. Right. Anybody else? We have 4 more minutes, if at all, if anybody would like to come in. So this is going to be the last session of this, what do you call this course of SIP program. Probably next week, we may have to restart it from the beginning. So as participants of going through all this content for one iteration, if anybody would like to put up any comments on this kind of feedback or reviews on or how to make this program better, anything you may put forth here. We have 3 more minutes. If at all, if you don't have any comments, we may go for winding it up and we may restart in the next session. So it's open to you. Anybody would like to put at least a comment? Fine. So let me wind it up, this session. So it is 8:28 now. We will restart with the next iteration of this SIP program on the coming Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Till then, namaste to all. Over to you, Parishit Bhaiya. Thank you so much for all the participation and exploration what you have done so. Thank you. Namaste. Parishit Bhaiya, over to you. Ji Bhaiya, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you all the course students. We certainly like to have conversation, exploration continue for more and more deep exploration. We'll meet again next Wednesday, same time. Till then, keep exploring. Namaste, everybody. Namaste.